Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Achua. This is going to be a subscriber request. I did a video last week where I spoke about affordable or cheap Middle Eastern fragrances according to price, which smell expensive. And I gave you some, good recommendations according to what I think are good recommendations under $20. And under that comment, one of the comments, someone said I should do something like the opposite of it because not all Middle Eastern cheap fragrances do smell, expensive. Some of them actually smell very cheap, And I told the person I already have a video like that. I will look for the video and try and link it in the description. But I also said to myself, you know what? I think I have a few fragrances in my current, collection, which are, cheap smelling, and I've not been super interested and curious about, I've not even I've had some of these, I think two of them for a while, but I've not even been interested in reviewing them, I think I've had one for like 5 months. I've never given it a full dedicated video. Whilst a lot of people love this, and have likened this to Delina La Rose, Hawaa Pink from, I'm just starting off the video, with my list, Hawaa Pink from Zimaya. I don't know, but I think it smells very cheap, There's something about it. It just doesn't sit well with me. First of all, it doesn't really, it is here. First of all, it doesn't really smell like the Delina La Rose to me. It doesn't, maybe the opening gives me vibes of that, but the dry down is something else, it's more fruity and it feels like some fermented fruit at a dry down, or maybe that is what my skin pulls, but Hawaa Pink from Zimaya really is not good smelling to me. These are all personal, these are, I guess, personal experiences. I don't know, but it didn't, when I get fragrances and when I do, fragrance hauls, and I always promise to follow up with dedicated videos, and the more excited I am about a fragrance, the earlier I produce that, video and then bring it out. So when you see that I have done like a whole video and I never really feature some of the fragrances ever again, or I hardly speak about them, it should give you a cue that those fragrances really didn't work well with me. And that is the case of Hawaa Pink from Zimaya. I got it and I wasn't super excited about it, but anytime I saw this being featured, it was giving a very good review. So I thought maybe I wasn't getting something right, but it's been over 6, maybe 5 months, and I still don't like this fragrance. I just feel there's something it's not even screechy, but there's something cheap smelling about it to my nose, very subjective, this is just my personal, experience. I feel like this comes across as, it doesn't smell like the OG. It is not watery. It is not aquatic. It is like some fruit. Even the sprayer, when you spray this, it's, I don't know, there's something cheap about it, Sometimes even the noise from the sprayers will let you know how cheap of a fragrance they are, Zimaya, I know, is like, I think, is it Afnan or one of the, bigger companies, which is like a good one. This is not a bad fragrance, Smelling it even now is not bad. Just because it's like, okay, the first few sprays, but when it dries down, I don't like the dry down at all. The dry down feels very cheap smelling to me. I've hardly featured this in any video. I don't think I would lead anyone, to a place where I'm not comfortable, and I'm not comfortable with Zimaya, Hawaa. It's never been a like, not even a like for me. I think it is quite cheap smelling for some reason. It is a, I don't want to contradict myself and say it is a good one, but I don't know, but to me it feels very cheap. It was like the juice is cheaply made. It doesn't smell like what it's supposed to smell. And even if you are taking it for what, for as a standalone fragrance, I just don't like it. I know people like it, so it's been hard for me to come and say this for a long time, but I guess decided to put this, list together. And I'm not putting this list together, I guess, because I want to come up with a list of cheap fragrances which smell cheap. No, that is not the aim here. I've done this video before, and it's just simply my, experience and observation, and I guess for this was cheaply done. The juice, the bottle is very beautiful, but I don't like it. It feels, I don't know, there's something about it which feels cheap smelling to me. So Hawaa Pink by Zimaya, I'll personally not recommend this. I'll personally not recommend this. The next fragrance on this list is a fragrance I hauled about 2 months ago, and I promised to give it a dedicated review. But because I don't really like this fragrance. I guess feel like it wasn't well made. I've not been encouraged to do any dedicated video for it. And this was promised as a Armani Magenta Tanzanite inspired by or dupe. And after smelling this, I wasn't impressed. Not only was I not impressed, I think it was not well done. It's a fragrance world, fragrance. I know fragrance world fragrances have longevity issues, and this one is like one of them. This one is one of them. It has a very poor longevity issue, and even that is not the case. There is something about this Zakariyat Lux. That is the name of the fragrance, Zakariyat Lux. I don't like it. And aside me not liking this, I thought it was poorly made. The juice itself doesn't smell good. I read that it's supposed to be like a combination of Grey Chanel and tobacco vanille with some, other spices, which I do get. I actually do get all those things. But I think I have a dupe for Grey Chanel Liam Grey, and I also have one for tobacco vanille, Charlotte tobacco vanille, and I like those fragrances separately. But this Zakariyat Lux is beautiful. I've tried it. You can see that there's a slight dent in it because I've been trying this for almost or about more than 2 months, and I really do not like this fragrance. I get that Liam Grey vibes. I also get the tobacco vanille vibes, but it feels poorly made. It opens up with this huge alcohol thing, which I still get after 2 months, but even that is not my major problem. There's something about it which feels poorly made. It doesn't smell rich, and it just fell short of my expectation. Maybe it's a case of expectation versus reality, but I don't know. I like world fragrances, but this one, there's something about it. I guess for like, okay, if I just combine my Charuto Tobacco Vanille and then Liam Grey, I will even get something much more better than this, because this doesn't give me anything that I like. It doesn't smell screechy or anything, but I guess for like there's this thing about it which feels not well made. Over time, when you begin to get used to some of these Middle Eastern fragrances, you begin to, separate the boys from the men. You know which ones are good, which ones are not good. As soon as I sprayed this, I knew it was going to be a problem. I didn't like it from day one. It's been 2 months or even more, and I still don't like this fragrance. I don't know if it's a personal thing, but it feels poorly made, and the longevity, quality, it doesn't match. It doesn't really match. So I will, even though I've not given it like I don't think I would want to give it a full detailed review. I'm not interested in doing that because I don't want to sway anyone into getting this, whilst me myself, I'm trying to, maybe after some time, if I wait on it for a while and it doesn't really work, I'll just let it go. I don't want to wait on it for months and months or years. So Zakariyat Lux by Fragrance World, I think it is poorly made, very poorly made, like longevity wise, quality of juice. There's something about it which doesn't really sit well with me. There's something about it that doesn't sit well with me. The next one I have here, I don't have, the others, I don't have the actual bottles, but those Barakkat and that entire line of Barakkat, especially the Barakkat satin wood, that one, very poorly made, very poorly made. It's like on steroids, annoying, very annoying, when you put it on yourself. The OG Barakkat is also quite an annoying scent, and I'm not saying this because I've had Barakkat, the OG Barakkat, like 2 times in my collection. I bought it, decluttered it, and bought it again just because I wanted to give it, a chance to work. It feels very cheaply done, that entire line. I think I've tried a few, like 4 or 5. I think the only one amongst them which really seemed to be a good one is the one that is duping Gentle Fluidity Gold. Gentle Fluidity Gold, that is the only one I have tried that you know seem to be of good quality. Aside that, the OG Barakkat, no, it is poorly made. The Barakkat satin is the worst to me in the line. No. And then there was one, I think that aqua something. It was too musky and very synthetic. I remember I smelled it and I was like, no, what is this fragrance world? That Barakkat line, I think you can stay away from them, and there are so many other alternatives out there. I wouldn't personally say go for the Barakkat line. And I've had some of these fragrances in the past. I've experienced them, and I feel like I know better, now that I'm sort of going. I'm not an expert, but I just feel like I'm going better when it comes to smelling fragrances, and being able to at least tell some good ones from the bad ones. I think those times a few years ago, I would have considered them good, but now that I know better, I think I wouldn't recommend them currently. You just have to go for something else instead of those fragrance world Barrakat line. So I wouldn't do that. Another one that I've had in my collection and have since decluttered is going to be which I feel is cheap smelling, is going to be Ramz Gold by Lattafa. I had that fragrance for about a year. I gave it like a sort of lukewarm review. It was getting better, but if it's not good, it is not. I think, as I said, I know better now, so I wouldn't say just try it, because it didn't work for me after 1 year. Although I call myself, someone who likes Oriental style, woody fragrances, and that Ram's Gold falls, within that sort of, Oriental patchouli fruity scent, but there's something very, it is cheaply made. It is cheaply made. After maturation, 1 year down the line, I still couldn't say it got so much better. I was struggling to like it. 1 minute I would like it for a while, but deep within me, I knew I would let it go after some time, So if I ever convinced any of you to buy that fragrance, I'm sorry about that, but I won't do it now. I will not do that now. I'm saying all these things because if you never got any of those fragrances and you see them for like cheap and you think, okay, it's time for me to pick them up, I don't think I'll recommend that fragrance. Ram's Gold. Ram's Silver is a good one, although quite screechy, it is still a good one. But Ram's Gold, you don't even have to start and then try and wait on it to macerate, and it's just going to annoy you, because after a while I'll get ready to get rid of it, and get to something else. So Ram's Gold, I would say, is cheaply, made. It is currently quite cheap, I think it's less than $20 now, but it is not worth it. It is not. You can get so many other things in replacement of that. Another one I would say I gave quite a positive. Even my reviews were not like 100% positive. If you really watch those videos, you could see I was trying to make it sound good because I had high hopes for it. I felt like it had potential. Qaeed Fursan, the pineapple one, the smoky pineapple one. After a year or so, it becomes so much better. But that fragrance, I don't know, I would say go for something like Lattafa Niche Emirati Aldana over that, They don't smell exactly the same, but you see that they all took inspiration from that. Nishane Hasivat sort of, feel with the smoky pineapple, but Aldana feels so much smoother, so much, elevated and elegant. But Qaeed Fursan for its time was good, but not now. For its time, Qaeed Fursan was good. Sometimes we need to leave some of the fragrances, where we met them. They served us for a period. At the time, they were good, but moving forward, I wouldn't recommend Qaeed Fursan. I've had it for more than a year and have since let it go because I just couldn't do it, It got better, but I still didn't see myself wearing that fragrance, because I don't know, it felt screechy and not well blended and not the best, in terms of it's a bit smooth fragrance, but it feels cheaply done, it feels cheaply done. That is the truth of the matter. So I wouldn't recommend that now. We did it then, but now let's move forward and go to something like Aldana from Niche Emirati. The next one on this list is going to be okay, my list here is going to be from the Opulent. I don't know if that's the name of the line. Those Opulent Mask, Opulent Red, Opulent Blue Oud. I've had all three in the past, and the only one that has remained is the Opulent Mask. And I've heard a lot of people say it is poorly made. I can get it. As I said, when I got those fragrances, I was a beginner, so I guess for like, oh, it's good, until I experience other things and I compare them and realize they are poorly made. I have since declassified my Opulent Red, it's one of the worst fragrances I can say confidently now. When I got it, I was trying to like that fragrance, I was really trying to like that heavy tuberose and gasoline and smoky thing. I don't know, but it didn't work out. I let it go. The Blue Oud, which is like an aquatic, it's okay, but there are better alternatives. They are poorly made, although I still have the Opulent Mask, I'm just left with like a 10-20 ml of it, and I just want to be able to one day finish it off, just to be able to say I finished a bottle, somehow, but it's the best in that, range. But now that I know better, I would say go for other alternatives. They feel screechy. The Opulence Red is like loud and obnoxious. I know Tia, she's Tia is a subscriber here, one of my best subbies I have on this channel. She's always in my comments, we communicate and everything. I know it is one of her best, so at least let me just say sorry to Tia. She also has a YouTube channel known as Ryan Barry and then Paul Barry. She talks about music most of the time, and she likes that Opulent Red, but I don't know, I wouldn't say go for it. It's an old fragrance that I know a lot of people are over it, but that whole line, the Opulent Red, the Blue Oud, and then Opulent Mask, I know better now, so I wouldn't recommend them now. I've left them in the past where they belong. And the last fragrance on this list is going to be one I have bashed and bashed and bashed. Mask is great, Mask is not great, from Zimaya. So we have two Zimayas on this list, Hawaa Pink, and then this one, Mask is great, which promised to be a clean, fresh Mask scent. A lot of people have corrected me as to what it is inspired by, but that fragrance was never great from the beginning. It is like one of the cheapest smelling back spray mentholy fragrance I have ever come across. I don't even have to say much because I've said several things about this in the negative, light. I think I don't need to say anything about that particular fragrance again. So Max is great, has never been great. It is still not great. I still don't like it. It feels very cheaply done, very cheaply done with the smell and everything. Maceration doesn't even help. Maceration does not even help when it comes to Max is great. These are going to be 6 or so fragrances I think are cheap for the price point, but they also smell so cheap to the point that they are not worth it. Even if they are selling for 10, I wouldn't recommend them. I just wouldn't recommend them. I had some of them in the past. I think they should remain there in the past, and let's move forward with like better alternatives out there. And that is going to be it for today, and I hope nobody is offended by this. This is just my honest subjective opinion and experience, based on experience, and I just want the best for everybody in terms of getting a good fragrance, wardrobe. So I wouldn't recommend any of these. I wouldn't, you know, although I have them. It's time for my Zimaya, Hawaa, and Zakariyat Lux, and the rest I still have. I think it's time for them to go, you know, because I wouldn't have any use for them. And that is going to be it for today. And I hope this video found you well. So please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you in my next one. Take care. Bye-bye.